Ultra Eye visits a capital city steeped in history and style. This is a city bursting with a new wave of creative energy. It is emerging as a trend-setting metropolis. This is Ultra Eye, London. We travel from east to west, north to south. Ultra Eye discovers how regeneration in London has led to cutting-edge creativity, which promotes a unique style. We explore the sights, sounds, and tastes of Britain's cool capital as it carves out its status in this new millennium. Ultra Eye opens on Notting Hill in West London. Nowhere reflects the London of the new millennium more colorfully. With the city's richest ethnic mix, Notting Hill Gate is the main cultural engine of London. Within the diverse social spectrum, this multifaceted area beats to many different rhythms. But there is much more to Notting Hill than first meets the eye. For 3 days every summer, the area's strong creative energy pulsates through the streets. Welcome to London's Notting Hill Carnival. The colorful procession attracts visitors from around the globe to gather and party in Europe's largest, most outrageous multicultural celebration. The first carnival in the early 60s was designed by local residents to help diffuse increasing cultural clashes. Its humble beginnings as a very small costume procession through the neighborhood has developed into a street party of over 2 million revelers. The carnival basks in the colorful designs and sounds of the Caribbean. This multicultural representation helped London become the capital of cool. The carnival is a testing ground for new music and fashion. Like London itself, it's evolving at an unpredictable pace. The carnival's departure reveals a more serene Notting Hill. Old exteriors hide unexpected modern experiences. Central to Notting Hill is the Portobello Road Market.
White chocolate truffles, we have 2 for £1 today. Try these, Fred.
On this bustling street sits the oldest cinema in England, the Electric. Two of London's most influential young architects took on the daunting task to renovate and modernize this historic building. It is a cinema that had a long history of failure and was on the brink of closure. As one of London's most sought-after design teams, Tim Boyd and Alex Michaelis took on the renovation challenge.
The Electric Cinema is the first purpose-built cinema in England. It was built in 1911 and has pretty much continuously operated as a cinema, and most of the time unsuccessfully. During the 50s and 60s, it was never full, it was very run down, the screen was too small, the sound was bad, etc. So the independent operators have never really been able to make it work.
What is exciting about this project is it's very challenging. First ever cinema in Britain, so we weren't really allowed to play with the fabric at all. And then another bit, which is the bit we're in at the moment, is completely new build. So you have complete contrast of having to keep the existing fabric and being able to do what you want in another section of it.
The renovation of the original cinema and the interior design of the club and the restaurant was a diverse task.
The brasserie is very much taken from the sort of traditional brasserie form, and then the club is much more of a sort of a home, if you like, and it's very relaxing.
One of the reasons that this cinema has failed for so many years is the screen is in the old existing, what is called a proscenium arch, which is where they used to show the Charlie Chaplin movies and all that. It doesn't work for widescreen. So one of the things we designed was a screen that, like an alien, comes out of the proscenium and opens up into a full-size screen, which sometimes is actually more exciting than the actual movie that's shown afterwards.
This dynamic duo has taken the lead for future interior design. They have discovered the secret to attracting London's most discerning clientele.
Chains and things like that are not popular anymore. The design ethos is very much homed in on what people have at home and bringing that to where they go out to. A snug, a living space, a dining area, a greeting area. I mean, literally like a home, like an apartment. And that's something that's definitely come to the fore in commercial architecture.
The resurrection of old buildings is indicative of a creative drive in London. It is a theme that runs the length and breadth of London, in some ways unifying the city. There is one place that physically splits London in two. South of Notting Hill is the most significant landmark in London, the River Thames. It divides the city into north and south. The Thames was a lifeline to the Industrial Revolution in the early 19th century. River traffic delivered supplies to the businesses along the river's banks. The buildings that lined the riverside gradually were uninhabited and became wastelands as technology increased and industry declined. Today, redundant riverside buildings have been transformed into prime real estate. One such building was granted a makeover when restaurant owners Ruth Rogers and Rose Gray opened the River Cafe. The combination of their experiences in an Italian kitchen, plus a constant search for the best ingredients, has led to London's most significant modern restaurant. The River Cafe inspired a new trend and set new standards in London dining.
In 1987, Ruthie and I started the River Cafe, and it was very modest and we'd never done a restaurant before. But what we did know is that we wanted to cook the kind of food that you ate in Italian homes, which just was not available in a restaurant, practically anywhere in Europe.
Synonymous with overcooked, tasteless morsels, London was never valued as a place of cuisine excellence. Almost single-handedly, the River Cafe has changed that perception.
Originally, the River Cafe was a very, very small operation. And we said to ourselves, we're going to cook home, you know, the kind of food you eat at home. And we were amazed that people, you know, were drawn to that kind of food so quickly.
Today, the River Cafe caters for over 100 people. But despite growing to 3 times its original size, its heart is still in the quality and taste of its food.
I have an intuitive sense of what is, you know, what is the right thing to cook. I find it quite interesting. I can go into a market in India, for instance, you know, in Kerala, and I can sort of see the vegetables and I can sort of tell which ones are actually the ones that have just been picked. I mean, every single ingredient that we source for the River Cafe, we take sort of time and trouble. People are drawn to us because there is a kind of obsession there that we have with ingredients.
But central to Rose's art is the restaurant's kitchen.
All right, so this is our kitchen. This is the sort of main kitchen of the River Cafe. And the way we designed it with this centre table so that all the chefs work round the table. I know they're not at this, you know, and a lot of the recipes that Ruthie and I have learned has been, you know, standing in a kitchen in Italy and watching somebody cooking.
Rose's passion for cuisine is world-renowned. All the River Cafe chefs share Rose's food fervor.
All right, now you've got something very interesting in this little pot, which Matthew, come on, Matthew. Honestly, they're all so shy. Matthew is not shy, I'll tell you that much. He's one of my top chefs, Matthew. Come on, Matty. What have you got here?
Pork shoulder. I've taken the bones out of it, so it's just the meat. Browned it all off, all over, and then cooked it with vinegar, which is this vinegar, red wine vinegar, bay leaf, fresh bay leaf from the garden, and peppercorns and garlic. And it's just slow cooked for 2 to 3 hours, and then just leave it. The sauce reduces down, the meat just falls apart. It's absolutely beautiful.
Since its opening, the River Cafe has been responsible for the regeneration of food appreciation in London.
I mean, since that point, you know, the Conran restaurants open and the many other Italian restaurants in the style of the River Cafe have opened. And I think what's happened in London is that people travel more, they live in smaller houses, and so they eat out more. I mean, it's the same thing that happened in America possibly 15 years earlier. And I think that has truly affected the restaurant trade.
Ultra Eye returns for a flavor of London's East End. The East End is fast becoming the most cutting-edge area in London, rivaling Notting Hill. Its streets display London's strongest and most influential underground youth cultures. Once notorious for its slums and curry houses, these East End streets are experiencing a major rejuvenation. The recent development of one building, super chef Jamie Oliver's Restaurant 15, has created a shift in gear for the East End. Welcome to celebrity cuisine. '15 is London's newest culinary sensation. With unrivaled hip status, this restaurant has become a cult figure in the East End. As well as catering to a celebrity appetite, Jamie Oliver's Restaurant has given 15 underprivileged London students a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be trained as world-class chefs.
I've been working here since day one, so it's kind of been my life for the past 11 months. It's been an experience, definitely. For what they learn in the year that they're here would probably take 5 to 10 years to learn for anyone else. And Jamie's really strict, and he's got a good team behind him to help him, you know, train them and bring them up along the way. So it's really good, actually. I mean, obviously a few of them fell out, but it's really down to their preference. But Jamie's training program really works well.
The fine fare starts with the first meal of the day. One of 15's new chefs unveils the mouth-watering creation of his favorite dish, the Great British Breakfast.
This is going to be kippers with poached egg. There you go. Scottish kippers, poached eggs on toast. Delicious.
15's success has been infectious. Designers and artisans are flocking to the East End to get in on the action. The process of regeneration is strongly evident. New shops and businesses are transforming the facade of the area. Although the process of gentrification has begun, the essence of the East End is being respected. On a street that has barely been touched by the developer's hand are two destinations that are hot contenders for the hippest venue in East London. 3 designers have created an environment where the old sits in harmony with the new. It is an amalgamation of designs from clashing eras that works in a contemporary setting. Out of the ruins of an old pub has risen the restaurant Les Trois Garçons. An extension of the idea gave birth to the Lounge Lover Bar. Combined, they are the best example of a nouvelle style in London. Hassan, one member of the trio, entertains London's coolest crowd in search of something a little different.
We wanted space. We lived in Notting Hill, and being 3 with 2 Dalmatians, we felt like it was very constricting. And Shoreditch at that point, 5-6 years ago, was really kind of still on the brink of discovery. And we were one of the pioneers kind of to buy into this area. I wanted to come to an area which is more happening. You can see the sense of evolvement. There is people with character who live around here. In fact, this area has the highest concentration of artists in the whole of Europe. Apparently 4,000 artists live here.
Les Trois Garçons restaurant is a unique venue. It is a reaction to the minimal design of the 90s. This is the exuberant face of the new millennium.
When we decided to turn the house into a restaurant, I thought I wanted it to be glamorous. I wanted somewhere people could come and dine and dress up. It's a small room, but just make it like a little jewel box. After all, it's not home. It's about going out to a completely different environment and being extravagant and glamorous. So that's what we did.
The glamour of the restaurant is reflected in their newly acquired Lounge Lover Bar. Once a meat warehouse, this hotspot still retains some of its original features.
I always think that when you go into an old building, respect what's there, work with it, glamorize it, make it, adapt it to your thing, but don't sort of try and make it all uniform and look like a new build. Then you might sort of start afresh. Get a plot of land and do something. But when you go into an old building, I always make it look like it's always been there forever. Life is colorful. Life is about different eras, different periods. So that's why this is an amalgamation of many different periods and styles. It's anything from 18th century to 1970s, plus contemporary things. I like this whole place to be, like our clientele, very, very mixed and varied. The furniture is from Italy, from Sweden, from France, from Asia.
The restaurant and bar's new creative style has brought celebrity attention to the East End.
And everybody wants to come because they've heard about this place and where it's a bit mad, you know, like stuffed animals wearing tiaras and stuff like that. And so they thought, well, let's come for a bit of fun and camp and so on. So that's what it's about, really. It's a bit of just fun, don't take life too seriously kind of thing.
A journey around London exposes a city in a constant state of flux. A rich past sits against a futuristic vision. Cutting-edge creativity constantly strives to make its mark against a strong historical presence. The regeneration of different areas within the city reflects this struggle between these two powerful forces. However, there is one constant in London, an area that has had a theatrical core since the turn of the century. West of the East End is Soho. This area has the city's largest concentration of theaters, clubs, and bars. It is the heart of London nightlife. The bustling streets are the heart of the theater district. It comes alive when the lights go on. One hotel reflects the drama of the area in which it resides. St. Martin's Lane Hotel has been designed for a unique nighttime experience. With clean lines, minimal design, and a concentration on creating atmosphere, the hotel designers set the standard for future commercial interiors. Lighting designer Arnold Chan worked with Philippe Starke and Ian Schrager. Their stunning yet subtle ideas have created a unique, sensual hotel experience.
Lighting plays a very, very important part in this project, but also it's an important element in Philippe Starke's work. And he relies on a certain sense of theatricality and drama, which is produced by the lighting. But at the same time, we're trying to create a stage, and where the actors are the public themselves. Lighting is not a tangible element within design, but it's an emotional, you can have an emotional reaction to lighting. I mean, we all thrive on sunlight. If we didn't have sunlight, we'd all, we couldn't exist. So likewise, when you use artificial light, it's all about creating an ambience which people feel comfortable in. So there's a sort of very subtle art in creating the right light for each function.
The hotel's restaurant, Asia de Cuba, sister to the famous venue in New York, is both subtle and striking. What may appear as a harsh design element works to create a tranquil ambiance.
If I had to sum up what our approach was to Asia de Cuba, is that we've put in a lot of light in a lot of little places, and the end result is that you're wrapped in light. It's like a blanket of light around you, and there's no one dominating element of light, even though visually it's the light bulb that one imagines is giving all the light. Instead of sort of floodlighting the columns or accenting the columns, we put little sort of lampshades on different shelves to give you pockets of light, and it gives the sense of coziness, and that's the message that we're trying to convey in this space.
The point of focus for all hotel guests is the bedroom, and this hotel has a unique lighting system.
I'm sure that color psychologists can spend hours explaining what different colors do to the human sort of psyche, but from our point of view, we approach lighting from a totally emotional viewpoint. It's not a technical task, even though we need to understand the technology to make the ultimate solution for every project. And in the room, with this light, I think at different times when you're using the room, you can choose the color that most reflects your mood. I can say that with guests, we sort of asked a lot of guests in the beginning what colors they preferred, and they said very definitely there was a very strong trend that there was a before and after color, and the before color was the vibrant reds and the pinks, and the after color was more the blues and the turquoises.
St. Martin's Lane Hotel is a perfect dialogue between architecture, interior design, and lighting design. Each element enhances the other and creates an added dimension.
It always gives me a thrill that at the end of the job, it's almost, I guess it's like giving birth to a baby, you know, so it comes alive and you can feel that the people participate in it, the customers or the clientele, and they all enjoy it, and that's very thrilling.
Coming up, Ultra Eye travels to London's centre of controversy. The South Bank is London's most recently developed area. Two galleries have created a frenzy of attention within the international world of art. Out of the ruins of an abandoned power station, the Tate Modern sits on the banks of the Thames. It houses one of the world's most celebrated collections of modern art. Opening in the new millennium, it was an immediate sensation. This gallery has brought much needed attention to British art and artists. The Tate Modern has set a precedent for art galleries. Acclaimed art historian Tim Marlowe is confident of this gallery's staying power.
This place, Tate Modern, is one of the great success stories in London cultural life of the last decade. It started out with the Tate Gallery, which is down the river, down at Millbank, and that gallery really was 3 galleries in one. It was historic British, it was international modern art, and it was Turner. And in the end, they hadn't got enough room, so they looked for a central location. But they found a disused power station by Gilbert Scott.
The building consists of a brick-clad steel structure with more than 4.2 million bricks. Its conversion to a gallery highlights the building's new function while respecting Scott's architectural integrity.
And they found this place, and in fact people thought it was too big, but with some clever architecture, what they've got is a cavernous space with some beautifully defined gallery spaces. And what you have is a powerhouse for contemporary art. It's become one of the great landmarks of Britain, in fact, on the international art world.
The drama of the gallery continues within its brick-clad walls. The interior design of the Turbine Gallery has a dignified simplicity. With subtle alterations rather than grand gestures, and the introduction of more light via the enormous roof light box, the architects have created an interior both functional and modern.
Other artists, I mean Henry Moore, for example, there was a display of Moore, these rather small works by comparison, that are worked in the space. You know, the human scale works there too. But basically at the moment, it's dramatic, it's monumental, it's big. People are trying to fill the space.
Along the newly developed South Bank is a hot contender for contemporary artists to display their work. The Saatchi Gallery is modern art's most fashionable venue. Owner Charles Saatchi is one of the only major collectors of contemporary art in the UK. His gallery is as unique as it is controversial.
Saatchi is this extraordinary figure who made his money in advertising. People are quite cynical about Saatchi in this country because they see him as someone who deals in art almost as a commodity. The feeling is that he goes in and buys a show. You know, he doesn't just want a particular piece, which is the old-fashioned connoisseurial way of buying and looking at art. But I have a respect for him, a huge respect for him, because in fact he's up the ante. He's actually thrown down a gauntlet to other would-be collectors and players in the art world. And he's also given prominence to a number of British artists.
The infamous Damien Hirst, creator of the Pickled Cow series, was one of Saatchi's first prodigies and has a considerable presence in the Saatchi Gallery. The majority of the collection is a continuation of an exhibition called Sensations, which did exactly what it said on the label. Shock and awe is what this gallery represents. The wood-paneled rooms are a far cry from the neutral white space considered to be the norm in gallery exhibitions.
That space is very, very dominant, and it becomes like a theme park for British art of the 90s, which has been Saatchi's great passion. It has the feeling to me of a kind of slightly odd installation. It's as if he's acquired these offices where people have just been told to leave and put art willy-nilly wherever he can. When he's put the greatest hits of British art in the 90s there, you can go and see it. You can see your Damien Hirst Cowhead, fantastic piece called 1,000 Years, where the flies generate, or they mutate from maggots, and they lay eggs on this cow's head. They blossom, and then there's a kind of zapper that kills them. So you've got this amazing life cycle unfolding. And it's interesting, but the question is, how long will that interest last? And I think there's a feeling with the Saatchi collection, actually, unless he keeps changing it around, that people will pay their £8, and then that's it. You know, they've seen the collection.
The Saatchi and the Tate Modern both cultivate an awareness in London of how today's art reflects contemporary culture in its broadest sense.
But increasingly, there's an awareness that the British people are very visually literate, and it comes from a kind of younger generation. I think that's what that generation of artists in the 90s showed on a broader level. Shakespeare is an incredibly visual writer and poet and playwright, if you study the lines, and yet he's been used as a kind of epitome of everything that is literary about British life. But I love the fact that here at Tate Modern, it casts this fantastic shadow, literally and metaphorically, over the globe, over Shakespeare's globe, and I think that's a fantastic image, if you like, of the way British culture is now going.
London is the master of transient trends. It is the creator of fashion statements, miniskirts, punk, Beatlemania. London's success is that it is able to keep up with fickleness of fashion fads by constantly reinventing itself. Stella McCartney could have been content with recognition by name association, but her talent for design has enabled her to reach an iconic status in the competitive world of fashion. Her new store, Stella McCartney London, is one of the best representations of a new trend in crossover disciplines, a synthesis of fashion and interior design. The elegant displays are as important as the delicately designed clothes. London's style diversity offers the antithesis of Stella McCartney. This store designs an urban, in-your-face couture. It's one label that screams, "Look at me." An Italian family has taken London's multicultural influences and created Voyage. The youngest member of the Voyage family is 23-year-old Rocky Mazzilli.
My name is Rocky. I'm one of the 4 people from Voyage, and this is our new store in London. And I would like to show you a little bit about the collection and how we do things around here. For us, we always want people to look good, and we don't have set styles, so we design for every age, every shape. We cut a lot of things from the bias cut with little cardigans. So it's very much layering the outfits, so you can always hide what's not good and emphasize what's great. Basically, you're trying to sell sex when you're buying these kind of clothes.
Voyage designs are an amalgamation of many different influences. From Chicago's 1940s to sporty urban gear, they are London's strongest fashion statement.
And we usually suggest to the people to put like a very glamorous dress with the diamonds and the beading, and then put something really that wouldn't go normally, but can make it really funky. You see, we put beads on fur, we make a little bomber jacket style. And then if you see inside, we have all the lining, which is a big trademark for Voyage, to always have the inside looking as good as the outside.
The Voyage look is fashion theatrics.
We have quite simple slip dress, but just the fabric really makes it. And then the Art Nouveau kind of cuts, which are asymmetric. And if you see it at the back, you see all the details that we have. See, for example, here, make a little entrance. You see all the fabrics, they're really flowy, just very soft, very sensual, you know, and here as well, we've got everything, you know, with the colors, and you see the 2 different layers that we put, so it's really about movement and showing how you move and enhancing the ways that you can just really excite people with colors and fabrics. Our clients are definitely not shrinking violets. We have everyone from celebrities to people who just love the clothes and work very hard to afford it. And I think the common denominator is very much people want to be sexy. I think what really inspires us in London is the people, how they like to wear the clothes, how they're not afraid to criticize and try different things, how nothing is ever ironed, everything's always destroyed, dyed, I don't know, burnt, cut, and I think it's a very fresh and very new way of wearing clothes.
Coming up, an oasis in the city. Ultra Eye experiences the serene side of London. This city's urban sprawl is punctuated by 5,000 acres of conserved historic parkland. These public parks are the lungs of the city. Rooted in a traditional style, they are a breath of London's magnificent history. The 15 million inhabitants of London share the designated parklands. Off Kensington High Street in West London, one building embraces the city's historic grandeur within the confines of an exclusive club. Ultra Eye visits a unique site only available to its 500 members. Becky Burns is responsible for preserving the 1.5-acre area.
Coming into work every day, I come in at about 8 o'clock. There's no buses, no traffic noises. You can occasionally hear it when the wind blows you up from the street, but apart from that, you can't really hear it. You feel like you're a million miles away from central London. It's fantastic.
Set on top of a department store, this exclusive club's interior has been designed for comfort with a contemporary feel. Its exterior echoes a more historic experience. This was the first roof garden in Europe. This unique urban retreat is maintained by head gardener Becky Burns and her assistant, Fran Forster.
This is the 6th floor. There's 5 floors beneath us, which are now let out to some of the department stores on the street. So you get a fantastic view because you can actually see over the walls of like a panorama of London around you. And just it's so big as well, and because you know it's walled and there are trees, you don't even know that you're in the middle of London. You can't hear any traffic. The ethos behind the gardens really was an oasis within London. The layout hasn't really changed that much. It's I think this is a new bridge we have near here, and some of the building design has changed, and there's been redevelopment in the last 2 years. A lot of the planting has changed, but the actual design and the layout is stayed, you know, quite similar.
The roof gardens were completed in 1938 and were the top floor of a department store. Today, the gardens are considered one of London's great historical treasures. The original layout has been protected from any development. The gardens are divided into 3 main areas. The Spanish garden, with Moorish pergolas and fountains, is a summer garden.
We've also got the Tudor courtyard and Tudor walkway, which is fantastic. Wonderful old columns and the paving, lovely herringbone terracotta paving.
A walk through the roof gardens allows you to experience a variety of designs from many different eras.
I like English woodland gardens, and I love walking through the trees with the canopies and some of the shrubs that flower in the spring when all the leaves are off the trees are just so stunning. And I think it's much more exciting for me personally, from my point of view. Plants that flower in the winter or the spring have got much more of a challenge on their hands than summer flowering plants.
It's always been a very hip place throughout the ages. All of the hard landscaping is Grade 2 listed, so it can't be changed. The Tudor garden can't be changed, the design of the Spanish garden can't be changed, but the planting can be changed. Becky and I are trying to recreate quite a contemporary feel, as well as, you know, keeping the history of the place.
Ultra Eye's last destination is right in the centre of London, where every area of the city can be viewed from a constantly rotating wheel. One of the creative forces behind this architectural marvel is architect Julia Barfield.
Actually, we're in the centre of London. We did a drawing right at the beginning of this project when we were considering different sites, locations for this. And if you put a point in the centre of a circle, you'll find that that point is actually here on the south bank.
Julia and her partner David Marks responded to an architectural competition run by the Architectural Foundation and the Sunday Times newspaper. The Eye was initially shrouded in controversy. Concerns were raised about the damaging visual impact of a 500-foot structure on London's historic skyline. As dominating as its physical presence is, this £50 million venture was approved. This pan-European project combined state-of-the-art engineering with architectural elegance.
We've always been, fascinated by structures, big structures. I think that the type of architecture that we've always been, particularly inspired by is where the engineering and the architecture are very much married. We didn't think it should be something that people just looked at. We thought it should be something that people could participate in, could get inside and enjoy. And sort of that led us really to the idea of something where you could actually appreciate London and see London from a height, because of course at that time London didn't have anywhere like that.
This dynamic structure has also created a lasting impression on its surrounding environment.
People in London have been trying to regenerate the South Bank for more than 100 years. When we were researching for the planning permission to get permission for the wheel, we came across this amazing statistic of apparently 1.5 million people at that time went halfway across Westminster Bridge, took a picture of Big Ben, and then went back over the river to the north. And as you can see now, they continue on their journey south, which is terrific. London is a wonderful city. I think it's architecture and design that's shot itself into the 21st century.
London has been a very exciting place to live, and there's a lot has happened, and a lot has changed, and there's a lot more diversity in the things you can do.
London has always been a pioneer in everything from theatre to music. They've always managed to find very new artists and new movements.
There is this incredibly showy side to British life and culture, where people show off the things they have. So there's a kind of theatricality about the Brits.
London's a melting pot. I think the main reason why I'm staying here is because there's so many cultures combined together. It makes it very colourful.
London is very, very exciting. You get this very, very unique mix of creativity.
Once a city of strict traditions, today, London's artists and designers' creative energy breaks down convention. London's cool has become a recognized catchphrase, a simile for a la mode. This ultra city is deserving of the title, Capital of Style.